What's going on? It's the RapNerd, and I'm here today to talk about Benny the Butcher's new album called Everybody Can't Go. And you gotta excuse the plain background. I'm in a different room rather than my office space. Ever since my family expanded, sometimes I just gotta get the content where I can. And while I could have waited to talk about this tomorrow to get into my little nook in my office, I just wanted to talk about it now because I'm so excited about it. I've been listening to it all weekend. And this album is fire from start to finish. No skippable record. Originally, Burden of Proof was my favorite project from Benny, but this to me does even better than that. And to start as to why, it's because of the production on this thing. You have Hit Boy and The Alchemist co-producing this album. You have Hit Boy and The Alchemist co-producing this album. You have Hit Boy, okay, I'm sorry. Just these two producers coming together just make for a crazy backdrop for a street MC like Benny the Butcher, man. You got Hit Boy, who is able to provide some upbeat instrumentals as well as soulful joints that kind of give you the same feel of back in the day, but he's able to modernize them with the kind of instrument he uses, the kicks, the snares, the type of bass that is so now mixed with that boom bap soulful feel. And then you have The Alchemist, who has these classic dark, slower BPM, pretty plain samples, but just have so much oomph to them that just speak to the streets. And it honestly, I feel like when Griselda first hit the music industry, their sound, I feel like, was a branch from what The Alchemist does. You know, the producer that they used and all the instrumentals that they use. So to see him now with The Alchemist, and it kind of feels like an even broader version of what they did, just because, you know, their beats don't typically use samples. It's more instrumentation, while The Alchemist is very sample heavy. Even if you don't really know it's a sample, it's there. So I feel like these two balance of who Benny is just works so well together, man. And, you know, I've spoken about the producers, but I gotta big them up because when it comes to street lyricists of this caliber, it doesn't really get that much better than having these two in modern day. So Benny slid all over this. Bars as usual. I mean, we can sit here and talk all day about the bars. Benny does what he does, but just having that background sound from those two makes this album just such a beautiful listen for me personally. And on top of that, it's short. It's only 12 records, and I believe the runtime is about 30 something to 40 minutes, I believe. And again, MCs like him who are just this lyrically inclined and playing with the words, the way they multiple syllable rhyming, metaphors, punchline, storytelling. We don't need a long album from you. Like 12 records is enough for us to just unpack. And honestly, every time I play this album, I've listened to it again just because it is a short listen, but there are just things that you just catch over and over with just the massive amount of bars on this joint, man. So I'm not gonna go through every track, but just gonna give feelings on the ones that stand out and all of these other things, right, as I usually do with my music reviews. So have my phone here just in case you're wondering what I'm looking at. So we start this joint off with the first record called Jermaine's Graduation, and it's a piano-driven instrumental brought to you by The Alchemist. And as Benny usually does, the first track is just all bars. It's the 32, I think, minimum 32, maximum 40. It's somewhere in between there, but either way, it's chock full of bars. One of my favorite lines, I believe it's in this record. If it's not, I missed it. Shitting around all these pussies like an OG in the restroom, like just going off. You start the album off pretty smooth, but what I love is it goes right into Braun, which is just this early 2000s vibe for me, man. Like it sounds like a Rockefeller beat, just with the horns blaring. And I really love Benny's flow in here, how he ends every fourth bar with the rhyme with Braun. Like I put that on my mother's firstborn. He keeps that same pace going throughout, even though he's still rhyming at the end of each bar. I think my favorite line when he was like, I got a chick so bad that my ex can't speak. She's so bitter that she gotta make a sex tape leap. A little porn, like it lines all over. I'm not gonna go through every line because if I did, we would be here all day. So I just love how that record is next to kind of be like the blow up after this smooth transition from The Alchemist. And it's a single, so I'm glad he got the singles out the way at the beginning, because right after that is Big Dog featuring Lil Wayne. And man, Benny did his thing, of course, but Lil Wayne, yo, he is he's the only MC that I would be scared to have a feature on my album, because I just know he's gonna come on here and crush it. And the thing about Wayne that makes him so deadly as an MC period, but just even as a feature, is you never really know how he's gonna show up on the record and rap. You know, you had Benny doing the double time flow for the most part to this beat, which this beat is crazy, and I did not think Alchemist produced it. So for him to kind of had this kind of southern bounce to an instrumental but still keep his gritty flair, I thought that was dope. But you never know how he's going to be. Benny was double timing, and then Wayne just comes on here and just raps it straight. But just the shit that he's saying is just crazy. Like from the jump, run from me, niggas that was barking turn to hush puppies. I'm throwing bread out like it's duck hunting. And then he gets to this whole span of just keeping the same motive, and he was like, Tucci and the Butcher, I'll shoot you, he a jug ya. The mute be on the blooker, that's the Uzi with the shusha. The doobie looking fuller and the jewels be looking cooler. Diamonds covering up the face like a Sunni and a Muslim. And then he just continues that pace. What he says, like the cuties and the hookers with their booties and their bosoms. Like, Wayne is nuts. And to cap it off with all dog flow. For that dog bag I send your ass where all the dogs go. Come on, dog. Wayne's too crazy with it. And then another thing about this record I like is this might be Benny's most catchy hook, and it's very, very effective. I mean, I found myself just singing this hook around the house and wherever I'm going just easily. All I ever wants to be big dog. Such an easy melody to just copy and just get stuck in your head. So kudos to that record, man. Dope ass feature. And then we get to the title track, Everybody Can't Go, which explains, of course, the album. I feel like this song is what makes... I feel like this song is what every other track is about, and I like the smooth sample produced by Hit Boy. The only thing about this record that I'm kind of like, is the singer on the hook isn't that strong. I feel like for a record like this, the vocal should have been more powerful, and I didn't feel that strength. And that's the one down to this album, period. There are some features on here that I'm like, didn't really need that. I would have preferred to hear Benny rap again over this person's. But all in all, still a great record. That doesn't ruin the song for me at all. And then you get the TMVTL, which is just a story of the many instances where trust is more valuable than love, which is what the acronym is. And I love it because it's Alchemist again, but it's 3 different beats and it switches per verse. And it's just a different, like, short story. This is almost like an anthology type song. And of course, Alchemist doing what he does best with these dreary, dark, moody, atmospheric beats, and Benny just slides on them because this pocket he's used to. So this was no slouch of a record, and this reminded me of him alongside Griselda, and I really dug that record. And then we on again to a Hit Boy record called Back Again, and this bounce is so crazy with Snoop on the hook. You know how we do this shit? Gangsta's back in this bitch again. The only disappointment with this record for me personally is that Snoop didn't get a verse, because I really, really wanted to hear him rap over this. I love when Snoop pops out and does these gangster features, because, you know, this is him. Like, this is literally a Snoop Dogg beat. This is the shit he rapped on back on Doggy Style, back when he was with Dre. A lot of people don't associate him with samples and this kind of thing, but when I hear this, I just think about him, and I just wish I would have had a verse on there. Then we get to one of my other favorite records. There's another Hit Boy produced song called One Foot In, One Foot Out, and that beat is just banging, like them drums, and that sample just blaring. Oof. And I love when the hook comes in. I got 1 foot in and 1 foot out, 1 foot in and 1 foot out. You know, talking about his beginning stages in hip hop, how he had to kind of play both sides from from the streets to music and making that transition. And I really dug that first verse. And this is a song that I was talking about where I think the guest verse was just okay. I don't think it was bad by any means. It sounded good, but it's just like, I would have preferred to hear Benny rap again on this beat. That's the only kind of about it. But yet, again, like I said about the other record, doesn't bring it down one bit, but just a hard ass record. Then we get to yet another of my favorite joints, Buffalo Kitchen Club. Like, oh my God, Alchemist produced beat. I could have heard Banks killing this. I love the tempo of it and just how both of them are rapping. What's shorty name? Armani Caesar. I believe she's actually a part of Griselda as well, but just the way they both was riding that beat. Like, and she was getting it off. She said, I bet your money keep it plutonic. I was like, and Benny had my favorite bar on this record when he was like, we don't do car max or the R8 or the R Max. On our first day we had car sex. I put glass on the corner like car wrecks. When this record came on, I played it like 3 times because I was just really feeling that bop and that energy of it. I wish Banks would have had a verse because he would have killed that shit, man. But all in all, one of my favorite records. We get to Pillow Talk and Slander, which is kind of more of a southern bounce to it. And we had a slight verse from Jadakiss. The second dude, Ramen, I didn't feel his verse at all. But Jadakiss came through. I feel like it was really, really short. I didn't get to feel him as much as I did. But you know Jada, never dropping whack verses at all. And then it flows into How to Rap, which is Benny pretty much giving a blueprint of how to go from the street life and a dope boy to actually transitioning to rapping, being good at it. I feel like it's a olive branch from one foot in and one foot out. Like he's literally telling you the steps of what to do and how to do it for anybody that's a street guy trying to transition. And then of course you can't have a Benny album without a Griselda record. So Griselda Express is 100% that, and what better producer than to have a Griselda record than Alchemist. And of course Westside Gunn, I love his hooks. Westside Gunn's a funny dude. It's like, I'm not the biggest fan of him by himself, but when he's amongst Griselda, I really do like him. He adds a particular flavor to the three of their voices and vocal tone and just rapping. Like, just a hook is, why he shoot like that? Why he shoot like that? Why he shoot like that? And he's just back there doing all them ad-libs. It just makes the song hard over such a smooth yet menacingly dark beat. And then the last record is Big Timers, which is straight up a Hit Boy record that I don't really hear Benny rap on like that, but he still sounded good. I feel like Hit Boy pushes the melodic nature out of Benny because he has like a lot of pretty good hooks that are very memorable based on the bounce that Hit Boy provides. Like, you know, here, bandana around my head like I'm pop. I think it was a great record to end on, especially calling it Big Timers, you know, paying homage to the South, which I feel like is cool. So all in all, I love this album. I think it's fire. Easily one of the best this year, which is not saying much because it's still January, but I can guarantee you this album probably won't move out of my top 5. You know, Benny is one of my favorite MCs of, I guess, the new school. It's funny to say Benny is the new school because he just has such an old soul about him. I mean, the guy is, the thing is like he's going on 40, but it's not even that. You could just hear the maturity in his voice, in his rapping style, in the way he picks his words, and you know, his verbiage and all that. You could tell that he's grown, and he's one of those few that came out in this era that you could pluck from here and put him in the early 2000s and he fits right in. Let me know in the comments what you thought about Everybody Can't Go. Be respectful with your opinions, conflict with others. And as usual, if you like this kind of content, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you already are subscribed, thank you. And until next time, peace.
RapNerd Productions, no capping, that's word to mommy.